and signing an agreement. I read the second important principle in the principal document. I quote, the parties reaffirm their commitment to resolving the conflict through peaceful means in the interest of the protecting the people of DRC in reference to the fundamental principles of the in reference to the fundamental principles of the Constitution of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Charter of the African Union, the Charter of the United Nations, and importantly, its UN relevant resolutions and international law. That is clear. It's the Constitution of DRC, Charter of African Union, Charter of the United Nations, and then UN resolutions and international law are the bedrock of how going forward goes forward. Number 3, very important. I quote, the parties acknowledge that that the restoration of government authority, DRC government authority, is the logical consequence of effectively addressing the reasons of the conflict through a peace agreement. Number 4, these negotiations at Qatar shall align with a peace agreement between the Democratic Republic of Congo and the Republic of Rwanda, signed in Washington on June 27th, 2025. Well, so there you have it. That is in total, those 4 points, including the DRC, the paramountcy of DRC constitution, the paramountcy of DRC government total control of its territories, the paramountcy of the African Union Charter, the UN Charter, and the UN resolutions, including the one that throws Rwanda out, that demands the immediate withdrawal of DRC, of Rwandan forces out of DRC. And then the agreement signed in Washington, now in force. These 4 points, these four rock are a complete trap for Kagame and M23. There is absolutely no room to maneuver. And most embarrassingly for him, in just 1 month, this will come to pass. And end of story. Game over. So for us freedom fighters, political parties, civil societies of which I belong, the ball is in our park. The ball is on our side. The ball is on our side to take advantage of this man's weakness because he's naked, to force our own agenda, of removing and freeing people of Rwanda from the jail in which they're imprisoned. Otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, we are exiting the ugly chapter of DRC, in which millions have perished, in the last 31 years under the Kagame dictatorship. I thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr.
you very
Himbara,
much, Dr.
for the
Himbara,
powerful and
for the
insightful
powerful and
presentation.
insightful
You've
presentation.
given us a clear understanding of
You've
what is
given
at
us a clear
stake
understanding of what is at stake
and what
and
this new
and
declaration could
what
mean
this new
for the
declaration
future
could
of our
mean
region.
for the future of our region.
Now, with your permission, I would
Now,
like to
with your
proceed
permission, I would
with a
like
few
to
questions
proceed
myself
with a
to
few questions
help
myself
guide the
to
discussion further.
help guide the discussion
After that,
further.
we will
After
open the
that,
floor and invite
we will
anyone
open
who
the
from the
floor and invite
audience
anyone
who
from the
wishes to
audience
engage directly.
who wishes to
With your
engage
permission,
directly.
sir, shall I
With your
go ahead
permission,
and
sir,
continue with
shall I go
questions and
ahead
answers?
and
Italy has cut off aid to Rwanda. So has Germany. The US, the biggest funder to Rwanda, just cut off $120 million annual aid to Rwanda. So there is the equation today, the difference between the equation of today and of previous times, the difference is night and day. Kagame is completely on his own. And you may have noticed uh, that, that also this time around, Rwanda was among the first to congratulate the DRC and M23 negotiation is not in Doha, Dhaka, in the Qatar. It endorsed. So he has nowhere to hide. That is my answer.
Thank you so much, David. The current declaration of principles we are talking about right now hints on something like admission of defeat by Kagame and his M23. Now, is this admission of defeat by Kagame and his M23, or there is still a risk that Rwanda may sabotage the peace process?
I wish they could. I wish he should. I wish he would. You only have to recall the other day that a week after signing the peace agreement, after the peace agreement went signed in Washington, went into force on June the 27th. You may recall that Kagame called Trump foolish and called U.S., Europe, and Canada stupid for sanctioning his Rwanda and his General Kabarebe. Well, he did that on the 20. He did that on July the 4th when he cursed these Westerners. But fast forward, now we're on now on yesterday on 19th of July. His government was the first to congratulate the parties in Doha. So see, he knows now that there is absolutely no room to maneuver. It's game over as far as DRC is concerned. I stake my reputation to say that there is absolutely no room here for him to maneuver. And I wish he could try. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Now let's transition to international community's role. Let's zoom out a bit and examine the role of the external actors. This declaration you are talking about expresses appreciation for Qatar, the United States, and the African Union. But how effective has their role been, and how much leverage do they really have? David, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah. The fundamentals. Well, you see, the kata, the way, let me describe the kata if effort like this. It's like imagine a train, a new train, moving from A to B. So it stops on the way to pick or reject the passengers on the way. That is the kata. The train moved from Washington on June 27th. So the train is moving forward nicely. So it is stopping on Qatar to pick up the passengers that can afford to board. And those passengers who can afford to board are the ones who obey the rules of the train. They have to enter the train. I'm talking about M23. They have to enter the train. They are shown where they sit. They are informed of the menu for lunch. They are informed how long the journey will go and how they must behave on the train, as well as when they arrive. But the train continues. Yeah, so Qatar has played an important part, but in a bigger scheme of things, it's a sideshow. Important nonetheless. Other players, yeah, the African Union has a charter. It has stated its own case. And of course, all of it based on the Constitution and the constitutional requirements of DRC, which is a member state. The African Union Charter, Congo is a co-owner, is a government. The UN, the UN and international law, Congo is a member of the UN. And it's the UN that has told Rwanda to get out. It's written there. But again, the driver of the train is DRC, the government of DRC. It is now challenged to take control of the train and make sure that it does not derail. But in the case of derailment or any problems, there are engineers standing by, the Americans are standing by. This train was purchased, engineered, and delivered by the United States. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. David. Now, the next question is about the peace agreement and the path ahead. So, with those insights in mind, let's now look forward. The signatories have committed to negotiating a final peace agreement by August 18th, 2025. What should we expect in the coming weeks, and what pitfalls should be avoided? You're on mute, David.
Yeah, well, I think this is where politics is also entertainment. I liken myself to a situation where now you are in a movie, beautiful movie, and you make sure that you have enough popcorn to eat and enough drink so that you observe. The situation now in Congo is as clear as night and day. The train started moving June 27th. We're now in July and moving on to August, mid-August, when the pickup for the train ride in Dakar will complete, and then from there, then we enter into the next phase of the peace agreement, including the joint oversight of the enforcement by Rwanda and DRC. Yeah, I mentioned the three components of the peace agreement. Um, which basically, number one is territorial integrity, disengagement, disarmament, and integration of non-state and armed groups, and then joint security coordination mechanism. That is the one. That is the one on which we now focus. Its formation, how it will be reporting, how it will be monitored. So really, we are at a point actually where we are almost getting out of the building of the foundations of the peace agreement into the peace enforcement. And as I noted, the sponsors of this round are making sure that every hour, every minute counts. Everything is time bound. This, as the United States said from the beginning, this will not take over. This will not be business as usual. It will not take over. It will not be our ears. No, time bound. So beyond the August 18th, when the Doha part is signed off, then we'll begin to now watch the drama. How will those generals the so-called generals in M23? how they will be integrated into the military. How will that be monitored? So really, I'm basically repeating myself. We are moving from the building the foundation onto enforcement, and each measure, each step is assigned time, and we watch the drama. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Now, let me end with this question. David, what does this declaration represent for the long suffering people of the DRC and for Rwandans still living under the weight of the authoritarian lure of General Kagame?
You know what? The ordinary person in DRC that has suffered through the invasions of Rwanda, through the looting, people who lost their children, wives, mothers, parents, to the tune of over 10 million people. They may not even be aware that these negotiations are going on. But be assured that each and every movement towards peace in DRC, towards the defeat of DRC, is a blessing both for the people of DRC and the people of Rwanda. Each little bit of this foundation exposes Kagame for who he is, a dictator that has unleashed untold suffering to the millions. So, yes, they may not be aware, but every moment, every bit of this will benefit them. Some of them late because of their lost loved ones, but nonetheless for the future. What happened yesterday, the signing of these by these M23 people that had captured the cities of Goma and Bukavu, to sign acknowledging the paramountcy of DRC government's total control of its territory is a defeat worth of celebration by every peace-loving person in DRC and in Rwanda. Bless us all. Thank you so much.
Thank you once again, David Himbara, for your thoughtful and informative responses. Your contribution tonight, Lily, has given us important clarity on the current situation and what it means for our region. So we will now move to the next part of our session where we open the floor, the members of the audience, to engage directly with questions or comments. So before we begin, I kindly ask everyone who speaks to please stay focused on the topic of our discussion and to use English only, as this session is being conducted exclusively in English. We will start with Esidras, followed by Ejid. Esidras, please go ahead and unmute yourself. You have the floor. Esdras, you're still on mute.
Thank you very much for this moment. I didn't ask. I think it's my phone who went to online myself itself. I don't know because I was very busy. But I can say something. Just a thank for Uncle David to give us a rich word. Is a really educator. I learned something from him, and I more understand more agreement signed in Doha than hearing from social medias, and yeah. I thank you very much. If I have another question, I will ask later. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Esdras. Now, Ejid, you have the floor.
Who put my phone on? Right.
Ejid, please. You have the floor. All right. Ejid is still on mute. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite my co-host, Mr. Ali. Mr. Ari is the first vice coordinator of the Rwanda National Congress. Mr. Ali, the floor is yours.
Hello, Comrade Maitre, do you hear me properly? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, first of all, for organizing this session and inviting my brother, Dr. David. Dr. David, thank you very much for accepting, as usual, but also, as Esdras has mentioned, for giving clarity and a complete, concise explanation of what the whole situation is regarding the Doha Declaration of Principles signed by DRC and Kagame's M23 AFC. I'm sorry, I'm calling it Kagame's DRC M23 AFC because, as you are all aware, which I want to stress, is that there was an observer from Rwanda, and they made sure I had to remain there so that there is no this going back and calling Rwanda, asking Kagame what should be done. We have been very categoric and very clear that Rwanda was the principal, and this M23 and those before them, the CNDP, the what, were just mere agents of the cabal in Kigali. I call the cabal the criminal cabal that happens to be in the power in Kigali. Why do I call them criminal? Dr. David has said it categorically, saying this is a win for Congolese, but also for Rwandans. I can't agree more. Why do we call it a win? We have so many Rwandans languishing in prison. We have so many Rwandans, youth, who have died in the plains, the plateaus, the rivers and what of Congo, in the forests of Congo, all because of the criminal adventure of the Kigali regime. These M23 are youth, Congolese youth, But also remember, they recruited from across our region, paying people money to go and fight these senseless wars, all to satisfy the demand of the criminal cabal in Kigali, led, of course, by Kagame. You were heading that Kagame's M23 endorses total restoration DRC government role is a total endorsement, but also vindication of what we said all along. Those who have followed what we have been saying that there is no way Kagame can have even a small inch of Congo as it was declared as Congo or former Zaire, because that is not how it works. You don't just wish to take a grab piece of another country's territory and you get it, like he does grab people's property in Rwanda and gets them. So we have all along said it is just a matter of time and he will be kicked out. It's just a matter of time and he will go. Even if he goes up to Kinshasa, it is not the first time that he has been and has been kicked out. Another time he went up to Kisangani, he was kicked out. He went another time he went up to this Goma, 2012, 2013, and he was kicked out. So this was no different. So we have been vindicated, and the only thing is, at what cost has this misadventure or criminal adventure of Kagame, what cost has it left behind for Rwandan youth in terms of their lives? Those who have, you saw their bodies left in Congo plains and mountains and hills and forests and whatnot. Actually, the Congolese said thanks Kagame for sending us fertilizers. So our youth fresh was used as fertilizer. So that cost, the cost of Congolese who were displaced, these Congolese are our neighbors. We like it or not, they are our neighbors. And actually, most of those who were displaced were kinsmen of Rwandans. When I talk of Rwandans, I mean both Tutsis and Hutus and Twas. Because, as you all know, our borders were just, when they were demarcating them, they didn't follow that this tribe remains there, this tribe. No, they just cut through. And therefore, some of our kinsmen were left on one side of the border, others left on the other side of the border. So they were kinsmen. And you see someone leading an adventure to put kinsmen in trouble, into chaos, in what we have been seeing, being displaced, being killed, women being raped, children being left as orphans, and all that you can talk about. And at that cost, human and property, in terms of human and property cost, is just immense. But then there is another cost of the reputation of Rwanda as a country. Where has it left us? Then there is the economic cost, where the aid we used to get was all stopped because of this. And there were warnings, because it wasn't the first time this was happening. In 2012, you all remember that they punished Rwanda by cutting aid, canceling it completely. They restored it after thinking that he has now learned nothing would happen again. Now again, he makes the adventure and expecting to have different results. Of course, the results would be the same. In those days, you all remember he set up what he called a Agaciro Fund to mitigate the loss. But Agaciro Fund couldn't mitigate. I'm not an economist, but my simple mind tells me that if you are having over $1 billion coming to the country, and now you have to find that 1 billion from within your own country, it doesn't add up. It is just common sense that whatever happened was a loss. Of course, there's the cost of the arms that were used. There's the cost of so many things. But there is now the bigger cost of our image, the image of we Rwandans. And this is where we come in. This is where we have stressed the point that this is done by a criminal cabal that has held Rwanda hostage. It has captured Rwanda and Rwandans and Rwandan institutions such that they have no say. So whatever is happening is not happening because Rwandans want it to happen. They have not endorsed it. No institution in Rwanda has endorsed whatever is happening. Even the soldiers themselves are just ordered to go. One who rejected, who was the CDF in Kazura, you know what happened to him. Because you're saying this war, this adventure we are going in, it is disastrous. It's going to be a disaster. And now he has been vindicated also. So the image of Rwanda, we have a job. I mean, when I say we, I mean people who are attending, who are listening to this, but also others who will listen to it. We have a job to be bold, like Dr. David has said. The role is ours now. First, to clear our name, but also to stress the point that unless there is political change in Rwanda, it will be just a matter of time, like it has always been. It is a matter of time. And Kagame, with his criminal cabal, will surface again and go and destabilize Congo. So to have sustainable and permanent peace, like it is wished in this declaration, then they must address the root cause. The root cause has always been Kigali. Americans understood it, and the way they planned all this, you could see that they had really grasped what it was. That's why they started with, first of all, making Rwanda admit and sign that it is part of the problem. It is the principal problem. And therefore, they forced them to sign the agreement. You saw how Kagame reacted on 4th of July, about 7 days after the agreement had been signed. But those were kicks of a dying horse, I would call it. The tantrums he threw, the way he called people foolish, the way he called he named like he normally names people when he sees that they are defeating him, explained exactly what I'm talking, that is a criminal. You all know that criminals will always try to say it is alleged, it is this, they will never accept. But honest people, if they make a honest mistake, they say, I made a mistake, I raised my hand, and then things clear. So Kagame, those tantrums he threw, and his demeanor shows that he's just going to wait for another day to do it again. So it is our job to explain to the international community, to explain to America, to stress it to Congo, that unless there is a political change in Rwanda, where checks and balances are introduced in Rwanda, where accountability becomes part and parcel of the political agenda in Rwanda, then with Kagame still in power, or other with equal minds like Kagame still in power, or take over from him, still Congo will be destabilized. Because Congo, in the saying of you all Rwandans, I'm sure you know, you had this saying, is like the dog that went to a butcher where they butcher animals, and they were crying for what in Kinyarwanda they call amayezi. That dog was always being told by a fortune teller. Is it a fortune teller or these people who tell what is going to happen? They told the dog that if you go there, you are going to die there. But the dog didn't listen. So the story goes that the one which was hunting the dog came to ask the same person, but the dog was meant to hide somewhere within the vicinity or within the house. And he was saying, do you hear what I'm saying? You are going to die there. Told the other one, wait for it in Congo, or wait for it where they butcher, the dog will come. Incidentally, the dog went back. So we are having the criminal cabal in Kigali that behaves that dog we were told in the stories as we were growing up, which always wanted to go in Congo because of the minerals, because of what wants to grab there, not knowing that this always is the trap it is going to fall in. I'm very happy that Dr. David has summed up all this that has happened, that it is a proper trap that now Kagame has fallen in. Let's use that trap to explain further the need for political change in Rwanda so that there is sustainable peace in Congo, in the region, but also in Rwanda. We have that democracy as we all wish for. So, in short, the Kagame's endorsing of total restoration of DRC Congo rule, if there's no political change in Rwanda, in my view, is just a matter of buying time, and we'll see him surface another way because he has done it several times. One will claim that there is America there. Yeah, but he's a manipulator. He will try. He will try, and you would want total peace. So the job is ours to push it further and use these other Congolese who have had that experience of him withdrawing and going back, withdrawing and going back, to pass that message clearly and loudly that unless there is real political change in Rwanda, which was actually one of the demands of USA when Secretary Blinken went there, he gave 4 demands. So one of them was political change. There was a reason. Until there is new political dispensation in Rwanda, still peace will keep eluding us because we have a criminal cabal in Kigali. I keep stressing it, that the only thing they know is killing, is looting, is grabbing, is using means that are not peaceful to sort issues. So at the same time, I congratulate Congo for a job well done. They did a fantastic job to engage America because they had tried that mantra of African solutions for African problems, and the Africans let them down. I think Dr. David is a bit polite when he says that Africans had because the charter has been mentioned, they have done this. They failed. Maybe the only person we can thank is Lorenzo, the president of Angola, because he tried hard. And even the president of Burundi, who has stood up with Congo, hand in hand. And a bit of Uganda, although they haven't come out clearly to say, you do this. But at least for them, they said, no, you can't go to Kisangani. So African solutions for African problems were tested, and they all allowed Kagame to fail it hands down. Tshisekedi chose to go to Washington, and that has saved the day. I think this is a moment of reckoning because, as you all know, America was losing Africa. But I have a belief that if America can restore peace in Congo and then do what is promising to do, which Dr. David has mentioned a bit of, try to invest in Congo and try to bring it to speed into investments and and employing its youth and all that. Then order also force the Congolese, sort of encourage Congolese government to be democratic. It will be an enlightenment, or it is going to inspire other governments, other African governments and youth to learn from them, and then we move away from this arrangement of our governments going to get, for example, China, where they come and grab everything. Then when you fail to pay, because Africans, we are poor at paying, they grab the ports, they grab the airports, they grab everything. This American arrangement, for me, as we said before in our earlier discussions, is much better, and I congratulate Kisekedi and his government, his foreign affairs minister, for seizing the opportunity and going to America. I thank America for accepting for a very long time now, from the time of Blinken, President Biden, although he was not decisive. We thank America for intervening, and maybe, hopefully, this will bring this to an end. It won't bring this to an end only in Congo, but it is going to expose Kagame for who he is, the criminal who has been unleashing trouble in the region, starting with Rwanda. Thank you very much, my dear brother, Comrade Metel.
Thank you very much, Comrade Ali, for your strong and comparing remarks. You have clearly spoken with clarity and conviction, and your contribution has reminded us of the urgency of standing up against dictatorship and speaking truth without fear. We deeply appreciate your presence and insight you brought to this conversation. Thank you once again for joining us. At this point of our discussion, I am honored to welcome a distinguished voice in the struggle for democracy and justice in Rwanda, our brother, Comrade Justin Bahunga, a senior member of FDU in Hinge, one of the key opposition movements advocating for political change and human rights in our country. Mr. Justin has long been engaged in efforts to expose repression, promote democratic governance, and amplify the voices of the Rwandan people in exile and at home. We are grateful to have him with us tonight. Mr. Justin, you're most welcome. Please go ahead and take the floor.
Oh, my dear brother Sagara, and I told you I've got my young brother called Sagara, who unfortunately passed away in the struggle. He was on the other side, but he was fighting on defending what he thought was his profession. And it's always a pleasure to have you. And as that, indeed, I appreciate you, and I don't want to say, to be misinterpreted, that I love you. You don't be taken in the right way, in the African way, not in the European way. So thank you for very many compliments. Make me feel that actually I'm more than I am. But thank you so much. I'd like to thank, of course, my dear brother David Himbara. We have a duty and a promise we made. I would not want to reveal it here, but which I think I am attached to and fighting for. I think, thank you for the very brilliant exposition about what is happening between Rwanda, DRC, and M23. But on the other hand, I'd like also to give a little bit, or to be the devil's advocate. I share so much his hopes and his convictions, but also I want to bring the other side of the story, to balance the whole debate. Is in all this, my personal experience, and I think one day Himbara talked about it when he said that him and Amri Swed, whom I know very well, was a colleague, discussed between themselves and said, can we approach Kagame, ask him to advise us how we should advise him? In this context, this is all done and this is all written down. But how far are we sure that he's going to follow that up, implement it? And again, I can quote my brother David one time. He said, I wish and I pray that he says no. Yes, it is true. But again, how much is it going to cost us? Saying, how much did it cost? Not to him, but to all of us and to Rwandans and Congolese. But the experience I have got, my own experience, is that Kagame does, and of course, David will say I'm wrong, almost the contrary of what one would think he should have done. The example, the most which we all know, is in 1994, we signed an agreement in Arusha, everything was all set. 1994, he did assassinate the president, or two presidents actually, and well knowing that they will go to a disaster. And I think our comrade General Nyamasa said one day, he said, if you put a light in a bush, in dry grass, what do you want to happen? So, and again, I can quote what he said. He said again on an occasion was of meeting people. He said there was an old woman, her killers in Terahamwe asked her, what type of death would you like to offer to give to you? And he said that the old lady spat in their face. And so he said, even for me, if you say you can tell me sanctions, which one do you want to choose? I mean, imagine how much saliva I want to spit in their face. And for me, my modest interpretation is, say, in this case we are in, is living in Congo, DRC is dying, it's death. Staying there is death. Which one should ask me which one to choose? So for me, I don't know, help me to understand or to say which one do you think is going to choose. But I was saying, unfortunately, it's not unpredictable. Because in normal cases, you will say this leader will consider the consequences of their action, the cost, and refrain from taking certain action. But the past has shown that actually he does take decisions that what the court is too high. So in this case, what do you want to act in this case? He's going to follow, he's going to say, they said one day we must fight as if we have nothing to lose. When you go in this case, and when you say fight as if we have nothing to lose, what does it entail? What the cost will be? And that's my worry. And you remember again last time when he was in his speech, he said, when he admitted that he did invade and take over Goma. And he said, this is a small fraction of what I'm able to do. And as you know, they're counting now 9,000 dead. And also the revelation say that he lost the young people we are talking about, that 900 that were counted by the satellites. But someone who doesn't care about the losses going to incur, how many can be able to sacrifice anyone, is what do you think is going to do? Is he going this time to say, I risk to lose everything? And then let me stop here so that you can say, at least now he fear, I think the enforcer, and definitely the powerful is not joking like what has happened before. Is going to react in a way that he wants to save or to preserve the lives of those who continue to fight. Will he respond positively to saying the consequences on the Rwandan people, on the economy, is going to be too high. So my worry, and probably will help me to understand and to a kind of a caution, what is he prepared to say the consequences, of course, is too high. Let me abide by what I'm being told. I will ask you to do. Two, what I fear again is creating a situation where what we have been reached is difficult to reach. As was saying in the case of Rwanda, by assassinating the president of Rwanda, the whole process stopped. Would he not probably, this is about speculation, I want people to think about it from the other side of the coin, is he not going to prepare something spectacular? We had, again, the speculation that there was a coup plot in Kinshasa or something might happen, which would stop the process. That would be planning that. Is he prepared? I know before his philosophy is zero-sum game. That means I win, you lose. Is he now prepared for a win-win game? Again, I think probably David knows him more than I do because he worked alongside him. Is he that a person who will say now this time I think it's better I go to a win-win? I get something, they get something, or someone says, I get what I want. If I don't get it, let happen what happen. Death between living or living in Congo or staying there, which one do I choose? So that's what I think people could reflect on that. And as I said from the beginning, I'm in the moon when I think and they can speculate on, not speculate actually, reflect on what our brother David has said, and they say, I wish that could happen. Of course, another point I want to add on is what my brother Ali said. I also believe, and I think they know, at one time I think Tshisekedi said it, we can't have, there's no peace in the region until the political change in Rwanda, when there are checks and balances. Some doesn't wake up and decide to start a war. It has happened now. That actually they're deciding and saying we agree on this agreement that we would pull troops back to the cabinet, but never told the cabinet before or agreed with the parliament that they had the troops in the Congo. So this unpredictability, how do we navigate to know or to think or to also to preempt anything that might want to prevent this wonderful agreement to be in place? But again, I'll ask them to say, as everybody has said it before, I congratulate the Congolese government with the wonderful work they have done. Diplomatic, I think, is excellent. I think in Rwanda, I think we are so clever, we are very clever, me included. But I think the Congolese diplomats are outwitted us. I think I give them credit for that. And I think also for Tshisekedi. Wonderful. There's one thing he said that I like to share with you is when a person, the president who clearly said, telling the Congolese, this is war is not between Congolese and Rwandans. It is the regime. And they are really muzzled. You have to help them. I think that's a very important statement. And two, that is we're saying that actually, you see now, the change in Rwanda is what probably needed. So let me not take so much of your time. But thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. Thank you so much, my brother Sagara.
I have one thing to say, man. As a Black American here, it's totally different when we need y'all to start getting y'all shit together because Black Americans are starting to see Africa as an option. Because
Thank you so
What
much.
has happened? There's someone talking. It's not me, the one who was talking before me.
Thank you so much, Comrade Justin, for your clear and comparing remarks. Your contribution, lady, has enriched this discussion and helped us reflect more deeply on the challenges and the responsibilities we face. So we truly appreciate your time and your continued engagement in the pursuit of truth and justice. So as we prepare to cross, I now invite Comrade George to take the floor. Please feel free, George, to share your comment or ask your question, but kindly keep it within 3 minutes so we can conclude on time. George, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Comrade Metre Inyas. Do you hear me though?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I really congratulate you as well for hosting this extraordinary session. And also, I want to thank Comrade and Uncle David. Also, Comrade Ali and Ambassador Bahunga and others on this forum. I'd like to congratulate you as well. For me, actually, what I wanted to talk about, I think Ambassador touched, on some of my questions or even remarks. But I'll also, you know, say something a little bit on this peace agreement, especially when it comes to peace agreement, signed by Kagame, who, in his, if I could say, lifetime, does not even honor any agreement at all. And Ambassador touched on the agreement signed in Arusha, and I could go to the other agreements signed in Burundi, especially all those peace agreements that were, signed or even all in regards to bringing peace in the region. Kagame never respected any peace agreement. So they when in his own words, if I can quote, uh, if you remember when he invited diplomats in Kigali and international organizations representatives as well, and even other dignitaries, he said he cannot afford to live without Congo. So in this remarks, I'm quoting where he said, for him it's life and death. So I think someone's mic is open. I don't know who this is, but anyways, so when he said that, uh, at this moment, Uncle David, I wonder when it comes to this peace agreement that he signed or he's about to sign, how different or what is the difference between this agreement to with the other previous agreements that he never fulfilled or even respected? That's the question that I would like you to answer. But I have another. Um, uh, it's not a question, but it's something maybe if you could touch on and maybe give us a little bit of insight if you could. But if not, never mind about it. Uh, in his appointment, recently he appointed a couple, I think, military officers to some positions, but one of them is, Jack Nziza, who has been on Katebe, if I could say it that way, sitting for long, and now he brought him back in the public eye. And some people, including myself, maybe, and others, started actually thinking or wondering why bringing Jack and Caesar at this point. And there was some people saying that it's because he might have brought Jack and Caesar to prepare for because he's gonna be heading the the mob, those that are getting out of the military into civilian life, and so some people see that as maybe because Kagame doesn't do anything without a calculation of or even plan of something. And then when it comes to the mob, especially in that exercise, that's when I know more, if I could say more about how the World Bank and IMF work when it comes to the demobilization. That's when they put some money to help those people that are, being, brought to civilian life to be able to, help in that exercise and also help them to um, establish themselves in the society. So it is the reason why he's bringing this guy to be able to use him in this exercise. Uh, those are two questions that I want. Maybe if you can touch on that one, or if it's something that is not out yet and you don't want to touch on it, that's fine as well. But anyways, I would like to thank you, Uncle David, for uh, everything that you've shared with us, or even uh, brought into the public understanding, especially when it comes to since we started this U.S. Engagement in the DRC and Rwanda, and I mean. We could not have had a lot of all this without you, but you did really, I think we appreciate to have you at this point, and you came on time to, help us explore more about what's happening and what's going to happen in coming days. So thank you very much, and thank you, Comrade Metri Minyas, and also everybody. And may God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, uh, Comrade George, for your contribution. We truly appreciate your engagement and the points you've raised. So, regarding your two questions, the first one, which touches on the core of tonight's topic, will be addressed shortly by David as he delivers his closing remarks. The second question, while important, falls outside the scope of our discussion tonight. So we hope to engage on that matter in a future session. And so once again, thank you, George. And we are now coming to the end of this important conversation. I want to sincerely thank all of you who joined and actively participated in this evening's discussion. Tonight, we reflected on a historic development, the Doha Declaration signed yesterday, July 19th, 2025, which, for the first time, commits Kagame's M23 to the complete restoration of state authority across all territories of the Democratic Republic of Congo. We explored the implications of this commitment, the credibility of its enforcement, the regional and international pressures that shaped it, and the Lord still ahead for peace, justice, and accountability in the Great Lakes region. To David Himbara, I want to express our deep appreciation for your time, your wisdom, and your courageous voice. You continue to be a guiding light in exposing the truth and helping us make sense of these evolving events. Before you officially close, I would like to kindly invite you David Himbara, to share your final thoughts with us and to deliver the closing words for tonight's discussion. Dr. Himbara, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maitre. Thank you so much. Yeah, let me address some of the points raised by George and my friend Bahunga there, and some issues raised by Ali. I can very well understand why people would say that, oh, we've seen this before. He'll play games, Kagame will play games, and continue his games as he has been done, as he has done in the last 31 years. Well, let's go by what I call evidence-based method of showing why this time is different. From the Clinton administration to the administration of Biden, it is a fact that Kagame had a strong lobby in Washington that really made him almost untouchable. Uh, Clinton himself, after leaving government, he became Kagame's advocate, really championed, who championed him in Washington to get foreign aid. In the US, in UK at the time, there was also Tony Blair, who became known as the Kagame's cheer guide. They called him cheer guide in chief. Blair also became an advocate for Kagame. It went on even through the Obama years. People may recall that, in fact, when the widows of the presidents of Rwanda and Burundi who were killed in 1994 in a plane crash, when a case was brought into the US court, Obama gave Kagame immunity so that the case basically ended without trial. So, and of course, the same people, very often the same officials, senior officials, that were in Clinton, Obama, Biden, very often the same officials were retained. They were Democrats. They served in high positions as ambassador to the UN and advisors in all the administrations. So really, Kagame had a bedrock of support in the US as well as in the UK. So fast forward in 2025, I have not even talked yet about the Congo thing. Just the support alone, US and Rwanda alone. Can we say that Kagame enjoys the same support and privilege in the US and in UK in 2025? I think if anyone who cares to analyze, he'll readily agree that the difference today and previous, the difference is night and day. As I mentioned, US just canceled $120 million aid to Rwanda. UK did the same. There is no advocacy or attachment anywhere today for Kagame in Washington or in the UK, in London. And those were the main supporters, really, that turned Kagame into what he became. So don't take my word for it. Just do your own research, and you'll see that the difference is enormous. So now, when I bring in the Congo picture, again, the difference of today and before, the difference is night and day. In previous, before this administration of Trump, Congo was just another country that Rwanda exploited, so no big deal. That was before. But now actually you have Congo, to their credit, borrowing from the case of Ukraine, approach the US to make a deal for peace using investment. Come and be our partner. Come and be an investor. You need all these minerals. Come and develop them. But give us support in enforcing our own laws. This, to my mind, has never happened before. And in my political science career and economics, this business of making a deal with, protect me and come and then earn openly like that, I never saw it before until the Ukraine and then DRC. So when I put all that together, I'm willing to bet that what we see today, the Kagames being entrapped, we've never seen this before. Never. And because of American influence, the same influence goes into the UN. Is a global power. The same influence of UK also goes into the UN. It's another power. These are also now in the UN, the countries that are saying, wait a minute, Rwanda has to withdraw and passes a resolution in the UN where the spokesperson of this resolution are the same Americans and the British, and even the French, Kagame's friend, who sponsored this resolution. So what I can say is that we see now total political isolation of Kagame globally, the UN, in the United States, in the UK, and also this the question of GM question asked. This also spills into the donor agencies, because after all, where is the IMF? Where is the World Bank? They're in Washington. And lastly, Kagame isolation also is nearly total on the African continent, because he is the one actually who demolished the whole idea of Africa solutions to African problems. He defeated that, because whatever they suggested, he went against. So now we've gone now to African problems solved by political, financial, and military powers in Western capitals, in particular the US. It's game over. It's game over, whether we want to believe it or not. The signs are there, the indicators there. And also, if I can bring the GM, the question of bringing those old retired militaries in Rwanda, like Jack and Ziza. Well, to me, that's just a sign of desperation as well. This man does not have any. He does not no longer even trust himself, let alone anybody else. All his generals, he sacked them and sent them outside as ambassadors. Those inside are seated in Agatebe. Then he's recycling the dead ends of the regime. I end it like that. Evidence is all there. Kagame of July 2025 is a man who is on the stretcher with doctors attending him 24/7 around the clock. And as he's lying on that bed, the bones of the regimes, the bones of his powers are being collected. And in his total humiliation, he becomes the first one to congratulate DRC signing with M23, signing the end of M23. And you want to tell me that this is the Kagame of yesterday? Come on. Let's not be that cynical. Let me conclude like this, dear friends. Let me conclude like this. My friend Bahunga hinted on something, but didn't want to complete it. So I'll assist him in completing it because it's very, very relevant in what we're discussing. When my sister Christine Mukanhansa was dying in London, she wanted to talk to her husband, General Frank Rusagara, in prison, to say goodbye. Kagame would not allow these lovers to say their goodbye. And that's the time that my sister told him, who Justin Wong and I, she left us a responsibility. She said, you men, so-called Hutu and Tutsi, put that rubbish aside and unite the people of Rwanda, the Hutu, the Twa, the Tutsi, unite them. Every day you breathe, so that I will one day in heaven witness a prosperous, united, democratic Rwanda. That is the responsibility that I carried every day, and Bahunga no doubt carries every day.
Thank you so much. I take it upon myself.
In ending like that, I give you a message. This time as an elder brother to most of you. Stop being cynical. Don't be cynical. Be analytic in order to understand the means available to us to change Rwanda forever. Never be cynical. Don't say, no, I have seen this before, Kagame will last forever. No nonsense. Stop. Please stop. Kagame is finished.
He must go. Add that, please.
Kagame must go. And Kagame is going.
At what cost?
Instead of saying, oh, he's out to play. No. Do the right thing. Congratulate the Congolese.
Hope for the
Congratulate the
best and plan
Congolese.
for the worst.
Congratulate our brothers and sisters in Congo. They have outplayed him. They have embarrassed him. He's the laughing stock. Let us empower ourselves and move forward. Ali, Rusagara, GM, Justin, and all of us are gathered here. Press forward